Hey everybody, it is so great to be here at the Women of Wisdom Conference. Thanks to Chris Stanis and a group of incredible people. They have done it again. I've got someone joining me here today, and as you've heard us talk about, our theme is a better world. And you know, why would we pick a theme like that? Why is that even important? Well, first part of that is to honor the gifts and the talents of so many people. Sandy Pendleton joining me here today. Sandy, you know, our theme is a better world, and I wanted to ask you about your own personal journey, your soul's journey, and what about that has caused you to be called forward in doing the things that you do and being of service as you are.
Thank you, first of all, Pat, for the opportunity to sit and have a conversation with you.
Oh, it's so fun. Yeah, I know, it's like totally fun. It's like, yay.
I'll take my glasses off too so I can see you better. You know, I do think that it comes from the personal journey. And my experience is having grown up in, you know, a very comfortable, easy world, easy lifestyle, great parents, and having the world really handled for me in lots of ways. And one of the challenges that I experienced was the idea that my life was very prescribed. And so that idea of who I was supposed to be, how I was supposed to show up, what I was supposed to say, who I was supposed to marry, all of those things. And even though it wasn't totally blatant, the mantra that I got growing up as a child was, thou shalt go to college, thou shalt get married, and get an MRS, you know, Mrs. degree, and a degree to fall back on, and God forbid you ever need it. And of course I did.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that interesting? I grew up with thou shalt not go to jail. That's why that was going to be batting 1,000. Thou shalt not go to jail, right?
Yeah. So when I went to school and I got myself engaged and realized that it really wasn't the right thing for me, and I kind of had a tumble of my life. And then I kind of got back on track and did marry the doctor and had my 2 kids and all of that. And I was miserable.
Wow.
I was in great pain in my heart. And I finally had to come to a place that I realized that I had done something that really wasn't in my soul's best interest. And so, but it really was when my mother died. And with the death of my mother came the idea that that prescription of who I was supposed to be also died.
Wow.
And so I had to sort of reorient my life. 4 years ago, I left Southern California. I had the very big, better, more, bigger, better lifestyle.
Right.
Successful practice as a psychotherapist and business owner. And I left everything. I just walked away to move to Bellingham and to start living life from a place of creating it moment by moment, day by day. And so I reinvented myself and have found that the way that I did things in the structure of, follow this prescription of,
it's a blueprint, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, it's like somebody's like, okay, wait a minute, let's be the architect of your life. Let's create the blueprint. And all you need to do is really follow it. Put a wall over here, put a door over here, put a window over here. You know, do A, B, C, D, do them in the order that you need to do them in. And by the way, you'll make a lot of money, have a great life, and off you go into the sunset. But it feels really awful for so many women, you know, and men that have to follow that path, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But what courage for you to pack it up and come up here, huh?
You know, that's the most common word I hear about courage.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a word that meant anything to me at the time. It was what needed to be done.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I was following that inner guidance that was saying there's something else here. And there's something for me to show up as. And I needed to figure out who that was.
You know, it's really interesting. You know, I've been doing this for, I don't know, doing the radio show for about 13 years, dialing in the wrong phone number and not hanging up, right? But before that, I'd kind of done like the things that you think about. Not quite in the same way, but there was a formula. There was this formula. Go get a job, go work for a company, the phone company, because they don't fire anybody, but they actually did fire me. And go do these things, and then all of a sudden a light bulb goes on or something. Let's call it a spiritual awakening. Do you mind?
No, I love that.
Because when you think about it like that, the word courage doesn't make any sense anymore.
Exactly.
Because you could not
Exactly.
do it.
Exactly.
Right. What is it like to live in the question?
That's fabulous, because I was just telling someone this morning that I live into the question all the time.
I know. My friends think I've lost my mind. But
I think
don't
it's
worry.
the only place
We
to
have
live.
great counselors over there right across the aisle that could help us out.
I know, I was just talking to her.
But so you were saying that to somebody, right?
I do.
About
and
living in the question.
I am always living into a question.
Right.
So my question today is, how can I show up as a reflection of the divine?
Oh, that's beautiful.
So that's my question today.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And so I am always living into a question. And the thing that I'm really expanding into these days is, how can I expand into something? And it's not coming from a place of lack. It's not coming from a place of, ooh, I don't like that, cut it off, chop it off, make it go away. It's a place of like, ooh, this is fun, this is interesting. What more is here? How would I need to be in order to show up so that that comes alive?
I love that. And it's really interesting. I don't know if you saw the banner when you walked up, but this banner here, it represents an expansion. We're launching the Transformation Network in about a month, and with it, something like 8 channels. And what's fascinating to me is, people ask me, wow, what does the business plan look like? And I'm like, I don't really have a business plan for it. When the divine taps you on the shoulder, what's your next move?
Listen.
All right, okay, that's it. Yeah.
Most important, listen.
Right.
And as a recovering type A driver personality, I have been driven by what I should be doing and what it's supposed to look like, and all of that for so long that I'm really quiet now. And I just sit, and I sit in the quiet. And what I have discovered is that the more that I sit and listen, the more I'm drawn into a conversation.
Right.
I got a phone call the other day that said, would you like to be interviewed by Dr. Pat? Yes.
Yeah, that's Linda. Right, right.
And would you like to come here and do this? Or would you like to talk to this person? Or I just find somebody on the street and I just make eye contact, and it's like, maybe it's just a smile. And so that tap on the shoulder is an invitation for me to show up.
Now, you're showing up here in a lot of different ways, but when we talk about showing up, you bring your gifts and talents forward. You've been working with people in circles. You've been, taking a message of community to the world. And I wanted to ask you, in doing that, what inspires you most now about being alive and doing the work you do?
Great question.
It is a good question, isn't it?
It is. It's a fabulous question.
I haven't asked that one really in like years.
Well, and that's one of the questions I live into, is what will bring me alive? And what brings me alive is the opportunity to make a really deep connection. And sometimes it's just in a glance. Sometimes it's in a conversation. Sometimes it's a question. Sometimes it's simply an acknowledgement. And the work that I do with people in my coaching practice is asking powerful questions to get them to a place where they can discover who they are. Not who they were supposed to be and what they were supposed to show up as, but what's really real for them. And so when I have one of those moments, when I ask one of those questions that
Yes.
somebody just goes, wow, and they stop and they pause and they lean back and they think for a minute and they're quiet, I can't wait.
I know. I
I
know.
can't wait to hear what comes out of them.
I know. Let's talk about your coaching practice. Let's talk about what it means to be a coach in contemporary times. And the reason that I bring this up is, because most of us who have gone through corporate America, we have a form of coaching that I think is kind of invalid today. It's kind of the coaching that we see in sports.
Yes.
But now I think times are changing. Has the coaching model has it had to change as well?
Well, I come from a psychotherapeutic background.
Right. Right.
So I have that model in
Right.
my background, and I've always had a unique way of dealing with clients
Right,
because I'm looking towards what's current today, what do they want, what do they want to live into, and what's holding them back. So from the psychotherapeutic model is I can deal with the past. From the coaching model, it's powerful questions. But I do not tell anybody how to do it.
Yeah, okay,
I'm not
yeah.
the kind of coach that says if you create a website and
Right,
you do
right,
your landing
right, right.
page and you create a product, and I've certainly taken advantage of those coaches and with mixed success.
Right.
But I think that the coaching is a construct of how can you get more of something as opposed to fix something, which is more of the psychotherapeutic model.
So it's really the question, what else is possible here?
Yes, and I
That's that
always want
question.
to live into
Yeah.
that possibility.
Yeah.
And I want my clients to live into that
Yeah.
possibility. And I want them to expand that menu of options. Because so often when we're stuck and we're
Yes.
afraid and we're feeling small, there's only two options.
So how are you finding this event so far? I mean, I know we've just getting started,
Just
but
begun.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Well, I've approached it from a different perspective this time.
Yeah,
I was
me
here
too.
2 years ago.
I know, we have too. This is new. And tell me why. What called forth in you?
Who I am today. Part of
Yeah.
that is really the commitment to living into the question, living into my question for today, which is how can I show up as a reflection of the divine. I have a
love
booth
that.
in the model. I have a booth in the marketplace.
Okay.
I make semi-precious stone mala, prayer beads, etc. And so
Wow.
I want to sell.
You have them on?
So this is one of them.
Ooh.
So this is amethyst, and then this is another one of my pieces. And so I have these beautiful pieces of art and jewelry. So
Oh,
this
that's
comes
gorgeous.
apart,
Yeah.
and it's a 54 count prayer bead. So I can do it as a mala and count off my prayers. But what I want
Nice.
to do is I want to create a place where people can have that contemplation in their life. So whether that be through beauty, wearing beauty, doing prayers, that spiritual part is a really important part of who I am personally, but also the conversations. And so I'm not coming with an agenda to sell my work.
Right.
I'm coming with an opportunity to make connections. And so that's a very different place. I'm teaching this afternoon. I'm doing a workshop on Kuan Yin. And
Kuan Yin. Let's talk about Kuan Yin if we could without giving the workshop away. If you had to pick 3 words to describe Kuan Yin, the energy, what would they be?
compassion, wisdom, and grace.
Oh, yeah. 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 Aren't those really soul lessons, though, for us, too, as well? Don't you think they are?
Absolutely. And each one of them is a living question. And the talk the workshop that I'm doing is about transformation, but you can't transform unless you have compassion, in my book.
Right, no, I
And so
agree with you.
that compassion for the self is the most challenging experience that I find women in particular to get to a place where they can have for themselves because of that enculturated idea of how we're supposed to show up. And so it's so easy to cut this or take away that, but to have compassion that says, you are beautiful just the way you are. And you have gifts just the way you are. You don't need to change anything. And it's from that beauty and that gift and that grace and the wisdom that you've accumulated through your whole life, what got you to this moment.
Right. Yes.
That allows you to move into what is next, that possibility.
I love it. You know, thank you for spending some time today with us. Let folks know how they can find out more about you.
Well, they can go to my website, sandypendleton.com.
Great.
And it's also sacredsistercircles.com.
Okay.
So either one works.
Okay.
And I'm happy to chat with them and share with them some of the wisdom that I have. I have a beautiful offering on my website right now. It's called Magnificent Meditative Moments.
Oh, that's great.
And it's a series of emails that give you a little snippet, just a little 5 to 7 minute audio of an exercise to do and some things to think about. And it gives an experience of my work and how I invite people into that exploration for themselves.
Well, it's just beautiful to be chatting with you. I have one last question. What would you like to leave us with? What's your personal message for creating a better world?
If you change yourself, you change the world.
Thank you. Sandy, thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
joining
Pat.
me here today.
Thank
And we have to go by the booth to take a look
Please
at this.
do. Thank you so much, Pat.
All right. Thank
Appreciate
you,
it.
Sandy. It was great.